Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 150 of Shirt Show. We're talking with ourselves. Let's go!
Hey there, Buckaroo.
Hey, dude.
Hey, you can't hear that
Son.
fan, right?
I mean, like there's a random fan in your office?
Like, I have a fan blowing on me because it's hot as fucking here.
Oh, I thought you meant like just
Like
a fan,
of the show.
Yeah.
He's just sitting here doing this.
Yeah, screaming outside though. Maybe the window or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, my office has a window that looks out like to the front counter, which if you look
To the
further
wall.
than that, yeah, window to the wall. And then if you look further beyond the front counter, there's the front windows and you can see out. And I just realized that it's going to get dark here in a minute. And I'm going to be standing here like this, and then people will be able to see me
That's
for
cool.
a couple hours. And so I just put up this cardboard. So now I have privacy.
I love that you have like cardboard privacy in your office all the time.
Yeah.
Like you block the windows next to you. You're blocking the front windows now.
I need to get something more permanent. You would think after 3 years,
Like room darkening shades.
I would love that. Yeah. Especially since, we've been doing this during the afternoon and the sun is like beaming down.
I have some. I'll mail them to you.
Serious?
I have black ones, yeah.
How do you know they're going to be this? Is that a new tattoo?
Yeah.
Dude, let's see. Hold it up. Let's see some more.
It's a ray gun.
Cool. I love it.
I got a little story behind it.
Do tell.
You want me to go right into that now? Coming in hot?
Sure. Yeah, let's hear it.
There's this guy, Eric, who used to work here for quite a while, actually. I don't know how many years he worked here. But before that, I knew him from like high school. And when I was in a band, like we played a house show at his house once, and it was just like this whole thing. And then he ended up working here for a while, and then it got to a point near the end where he was like tattooing, like apprenticing on the side, and then he was working here too. And then he kind of was like 50, like on the fence, like he couldn't commit to tattooing because he had like a full-time job. So I kind of like pushed him out. I was like, if your passion is tattooing and not screen printing, like you need to fucking get out of here. Like you need to like you're fired. Get the fuck out of here. Kind of like just the ending of Harry and the Hendersons, where he's yelling at Harry and telling him to fucking get out of there, and he like throws shit at him so that he'll go away and not follow them home.
I don't remember that scene, but yeah, I get it. I like that.
So
it's heart-wrenching. It's sad. You want him to stay, but
right
that he needs to go. Yeah.
Right. So
I
anyway,
have a question about, by the way, can I interrupt? I know this is no. Tell your story and then I'll save this because this is good.
Okay. So he's been tattooing and, getting his chops and all that stuff. So I waited a little while, I don't know, a couple years. And I told him this whole time, like, I want to get a tattoo from him because, he worked here and, he left here, and I kind of pushed him in that direction. He was actually the one who was going to come here. I don't know if we ever talked about this on air, where he was going to come here on our 100th episode and tattoo me during the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was going to do like a shirt show tattoo, and then it didn't work out because the episode ended up being on Father's Day.
What happened?
Yeah. And then, so yeah, I hit him up like a month ago or whatever and says, hey, I want a ray gun tattoo and here's my inspiration stuff. And he said, cool. And then he sketched it up. And then on Tuesday or Wednesday, can't remember, I went to his shop and he tattooed this ray gun on my arm.
It looks healed, like it's already done.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not really. I mean, it's kind of crusty right now, but I'm also a little bit of a dry healer, so I don't like wrap it all the time and salve and everything. So I just lotion it once a day so that it doesn't like dry out and get gross.
Okay, I'm glad you explained that. I didn't know what you meant by dry healer, and so
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm like
I
a
get it.
wizard. I'm like a Wiccan. It just sounds like something like I'm a dry healer.
Okay,
Mhm.
so my question is, were you always like that? So, day one, year one, whatever, you're growing your business. It's a battle. You're hiring people, and somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm putting in my 2 weeks or I'm leaving." Did that used to upset you more than say like it does now? Because now you understand how important it is. And also you don't expect your team, or people that work for you to stay forever, just like, because this is a passion project more than just like it's your business. Like this is really important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And now, so what I'm saying is like, if that would have happened when you were first starting, did you always handle it so well? Because I didn't.
I still don't. I'm a sensitive boy.
Yeah, I mean,
I usually when people leave, like I see it coming. It's not. I don't think it's ever been in like a walk in and like I'm leaving. Like it's always like we know it's coming. We know it's coming, and then they finally come in, and then like say I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks. So usually I'm like ahead of the game a little bit. But there's been times where I'm super cool with it because I want that fucking person out of here anyway. So for them to
that's the
quit without
best. Now,
me, that's the
hold on.
best. Yeah, that's fucking that's
The
chef's kiss.
universe is like looking out for you, and you're like, man, I gotta
Right.
fire this motherfucker. But then they come
They
in and say,
quit.
hey,
It's like and then they're like, I'm gonna put my 2 weeks. You're like, no. It's fine. You can go today.
oh yeah, hey, I've got it worked out where if you need to
Yeah,
go,
we don't need
I
you.
get
It's
it.
totally fine. Totally fine for you to get the fuck out of my face.
Um, yeah, I was the same way because it's so hard, I think,
Yeah, it is.
I think it's harder when you're starting out and you're building your team,
Younger.
trying to add those critical roles. And then when you get somebody there and they're trained in and you spend that money and they're doing great, and then they tell you, hey, I've got this other great opportunity. I'm like, but this is the best opportunity. Like, what would you leave for? When
Mhm.
reality is probably I was doing something wrong, or this place didn't offer what it needed to, or, whatever it may
And then you're
be.
like, why would you leave? You're working for the Andy Rudman. Like you keep saying it like third person the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they go, well, that's why actually. And so it's tough, man. Like, I think that now, sort of like what you said, I'm sensitive, and it's still, I don't know if bothers me is the right word. I think that sometimes it's challenging, because let's say I have somebody that's just super important to this place, and they leave. That's hard. That's hard to replace. Yeah, sure you can, and sure that we'll survive and we'll print shirts the next day, but it's really tough. And so now, though, I understand and I'm happy for them. I want them to like grow here, and I want them to, when they go wherever they're going, I want them to look back and say, oh, Shirkong was fucking awesome. I learned a lot while I was there, and I worked for the Andy Rudman.
Mhm.
And then when people hear like them describe this place, it's good, instead of like, oh, I left that place and it was fucking awful. You know what I mean? So like, which has happened.
It
I
just
know for a
happened to me.
fact. It just happened to me.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to dive into that today, but I know your theme for today's episode is optimism. So
Yeah, it is. It is
I mean, it
optimism.
ends on a high note. Kind
Yeah,
of.
I don't know if, well, let's save that. Tell me about Legoland.
So we had, it's probably the same for you, but we had one of those like freakishly warm like summer weeks this week
We
where it was
did.
like fucking 80, 90 degrees every day. And we're like, holy shit, it's April. How is this happening?
Right.
So anyway, like Sunday till Friday, it was fucking like beautiful sunshine all week. And that's rare for here because it rains all the time and everything else.
Mhm.
So on like Wednesday, I was like, you know what? I'll take the kids to Legoland this weekend. It's like a 2-hour drive from here. I was like, let's do it. Like I haven't been. They went last year, so they were like pumped on it. So I was like, I'd like to take them. So I bought the tickets, did the whole thing, and then Thursday and Friday I started checking the weather, and it was like hardcore thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I looked on the website and it says rain or shine, you know, you have to do the tickets. The only way they'll like refund you or change it, rain check, is if it is thunder and lightning for 120 minutes or something while you're there. Then they'll give you a rain check or something. So I was like, fuck, this is stupid. So I was like stressing out about it. And then Friday night, I had the kids at my house, in my apartment, and Libby was all crying and upset. She was like, I want to go to Legoland. And I'm like, hon, we got to find something else to do. It's supposed to thunderstorm. And I felt really bad because I know she was like not just being a whiny kid, but like actually like heartbroken that she wasn't going to get to go the next day. And I was just like, fuck. I was like, we got to find something else fun to do. So I was like fully ready to take him to like the Syracuse Mall, and then we could go like find something inside fun to do. And I got up in the morning and it was like the chance of thunderstorms and rain went down to like 0 all day until like 5 o'clock. And then it was like, okay, it's going to thunderstorm. So I was like, fuck it, let's go. Got him up first thing in the morning, drove there. It was like the perfect day. Like it was 70 degrees. Like it was partly cloudy. Sun was peeking through here and there. And it was just like breezy. And the park like didn't have a ton of people in it because people were scared of it being like thunderstorms and shit. So it was like we got on every ride somewhat quickly. I think the longest line we were in was maybe like 15 minutes.
When you say we got on every ride,
the kids got on every ride.
How about
I got on like 2 rides.
What 2?
There's one that's like a Lego Builders one. It's like no, there's just like one of those where you get in and it kind of is like remote controlled a little bit, where it just like goes around the floor and like does stuff. It's nothing that's like scary or spinning or anything. Like I won't get in a ride if it spins or has drops or anything.
Yeah, because you don't like.
It's not that I'm scared; it's that I will throw up all over the place.
Right, you can't even be a passenger in my car.
I can't ride an Uber without feeling like I'm going to throw up everywhere. So Dramamine's my friend. So anyway, I did that. It was great. We had super fun time. Kids were great the whole time. Like I didn't even have to like yell at them or just like scold them or all. You know, not like yell at my kids, but like, you know, their brother and sister, they'll bicker or they'll like punch each other or whatever. I didn't have to do that like all day. And then like as soon as we got to leave and got in the parking lot, it was like thunder and lightning. And I was like, this is fall. Like this is perfect. It was a perfect day.
So this happened to me yesterday. I had to run and pick up a few things for dinner.
I should have took your car.
Next time, yeah, good idea. It would have saved me a little bit of time. But no, I get in my car. I'm going to go to the store, and off in the distance, it's like black. You know, it's daytime. It's like whatever. It's like 4 o'clock. You know, so it's sunny over here. I look out there, and I'm like, wow, that looks like a heavy duty hardcore storm. So I better hurry up. And so I go, and one of the things I was going to buy, it was a cucumber, because I'm making, you know what spanakopita is?
You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me.
Shut up. You know what spanakopita is?
Yeah.
It's a delicious spinach pie. And so I wanted to make this tzatziki sauce. And so I go and I'm looking for a cucumber. First store doesn't have it. Or they have a cucumber, but it's shit. It's like from, I don't know, last year. I go to the next store and it's a little bit better, but still, it's not good enough. It's not good enough for me and my angel. I need a better cucumber.
You need it to be big and firm.
I need it to be little and skinny and fresh. You know, that's how I like them. Okay. And I by the way, we were watching this commercial last night, and it was for a condition where if you have an erection, it curves, and they used a vegetable as an example, and it was a carrot. And Joanne's like, "Why do they use a carrot?" I go, "I know, babe. I know, it's weird. It's kind of small, but you know, they didn't want to offend anyone on the commercial." And so my story, yeah. So
it's like the memes that say, "It's okay, babe. The big ones hurt me anyway."
So by the time I'm at like the third store or whatever, the storm is above me, like right above. And I come out of the store, it's starting to drizzle, and tornado warnings go off and it looks like it's going to hail. In fact, there's little tiny hail. I'm like, fuck, I got to get home. And so I sped like I never should have. Like I did one of those things where I was coming to a light.
Gross.
And there was somebody in front of me and they didn't go like fast enough and through it. So that I got held up at that light. And I was making a left and I was like, fuck, I was gonna have to sit there for a while. It's a long light. So I made a right instead and pulled a U-ey like on the street that I needed
Like
to
an
go and then
asshole.
went that way. Yeah, like total
Yeah.
asshole move. But I didn't want to get hailed on. Like that happened to me, happened to both of us. It happened to this whole shop. Like 5 years ago, we got a hailstorm and every single car in the parking lot was ruined.
Yeah.
Like I got to get home. I literally pulled in the garage, and when I like got in, no less than like 30 seconds later, it was hailing. I have it on video. I'm going to share it with you later. It's fucking hail, like pretty big. But it was like, so it worked out. Like it was just perfect timing.
Yeah.
Sometimes, most of the time,
I've been
things
nail
work out.
biting this whole time. Did you find the perfect cucumber?
Yeah, I did. That third, at Trader Joe's.
You say the third place?
Might have been the fourth.
You went to four places to find a cucumber?
Yeah, fuck off. I did. That's how important. I like cucumbers.
I bet you do.
Yeah. Here, I went to 4 places. Yeah.
Okay.
I had time to spare, except
All right.
I didn't.
I get it.
Apparently I didn't. I had the storm. Well, I'm glad your Legoland day was fantastic. I had no idea. I've never even heard of the place. I didn't know it was outside or inside or whatever, but that's pretty cool. I wanted to tell you about something that happened. I had a visitor in town, Chris from Denial in Philly.
He was picking up a press.
He was picking up a press. So he won an auction that was here in St. Louis. A shop went out of business, and there was an auction, and they had a Cobra there, and he bid on it and won. So he was like, "Holy shit, I got to go get this Cobra!" And so he flew.
He won a Cobra?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a Cobra that he got.
Yeah, he had to buy it. He didn't like win it.
Well, I know that.
It, but and it was actually, it had a pretty low impression count on it, and
I
3
would think
flashes.
so, being a Cobra.
Yeah, and it was like Cobra number 50 something. So anyway, flies here to St. Louis. I pick him up at the airport. He's just got a backpack. Like he knows how to travel. And he comes back, stays in my place. Wake up in the morning. He comes to the shop, give him a tour. He's like,
wow, what a shithole. Get me the fuck out of here.
Exactly. Those things.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah. And then and then I drove him to the truck rental place, gets like this giant 26-foot truck, and he goes, takes the press apart, puts it back in the truck, and he is exhausted, comes like after work. I meet him back at home and we chill for a little bit, have some dinner, and then he starts driving. And I want to say he drove 20 hours. My point of this story
is he's a real fucking man.
Do you think it's worth it? Because the whole fly here, deal with my shit.
Depends on what he got the Cobra for.
What do you mean?
Yeah, that's probably the worst part of it. I would rather do that 20-hour drive than see ShirtCon.
I know. He pretended. I was like, "Hey, you want to see the shop?" He's like, "I guess."
Yeah. I'm
going to ask him. So, do you think that, because I know a lot of people that do that. In fact, in-house prints, Tyler and Alexa, that they did that one time. They bought a rock in, I don't know where it was, like Texas, Arizona. Was it a dryer or no? It was a press.
Oh.
And
I think he's done that multiple times.
Probably. Yeah, probably. They flew somewhere, rented a truck, took it apart, put it in the truck, drove all the way back to New Jersey. And
I think so. I mean, it's also, life's about the journey, bro. They fucking wanted to do a sick road trip together. They bought a press. They experienced the journey, and it was probably fun. It was like Chris. You got to think like he he got to come hang out with you for 2 days and drive back and crank the tunes, and road tripping's fun.
It is fun. He was in a truck though. It was a nice truck, like it was new, but it had a governor on it. Like you could only go 65 or some shit, or
You don't want to go over
whatever.
65 in that truck anyway.
No, but what I mean is that's kind of a slow go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By himself. I love road trips too. It's just that these days my back can't do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know. Had to make stops.
He said the same thing. His back's destroyed, but
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, because there are other options. Like, I guess he could have probably paid someone to do all that.
Yeah.
So I said,
he did get a sweet deal though, didn't he?
He got a fair deal. Well, pretty sweet. I would say it would be sweet. Yeah, definitely got a sweet deal.
No,
but when you add in, no waiting, although he didn't need it right away, because I just texted him. I said, so was it worth it buying the press and coming here and all the whole thing, And he says, I think so. Just got to find somewhere to put it. Meaning he has I think
he has to get rid of that workhorse.
Right. He doesn't have space for it. And he's getting I think they're getting a new place. Not sure. But the point is he came across this deal and he did it. And I just wanted to know, like, is it always, because there's another auction, I think going on right now in Omaha or something like that. I saw it in a text group somewhere that they were like, hey, is anybody bidding on some of this stuff from Omaha? And, people do this all the time. It's sort of is it a new thing? Like, is this happening? There's shops that are going under, and it's
dude, shops are going under everywhere since COVID. Like COVID happened, and now it's like recession and fucking jobs aren't coming in and everything else. It's like if you owe a shitload of money to somebody, you're gonna have to sell some stuff off.
Right. Well, I thought it would be fun too, but when it was all said and done, I was just curious, how, because it takes a toll. Have you ever, what it's like when you are putting together a press, like a 14 color, and you're holding that print arm, let's say, and you're the only fucking person, and you're at the end, and they're unscrewing the thing, and then they comes loose, and you're like, what the fuck? You can't even, it could kill you. You drop it, you're dead. It's heavy as shit. And you do that 14 times, and then you do it 16 times with all the print arms and the pallets and all of that. It's heavy shit.
You got to put it on the cart.
I know.
Have they not done that for you?
You're talking about the print head?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like you take your shirt cart and then you put maybe like a couple 4x4s or 2x4s on top of the cart so you can put the print head on it, and then all you gotta do is wheel it up to the press, and then they go burn with the 2 bolts in the back. And then you just pop on the next one, and you don't have to hold it up and strong arm it.
Mm-hmm. You kind of just walk up and you're like one-handed.
You literally just roll it in.
Yeah, you're not lifting shit.
No.
Easy peasy.
Work smarter, bro.
I don't know. We've never done it that way. You can't do it exactly like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Fuck, are we recording? Shit.
Dude, I fucking hope so.
Oh. Might be the best one yet.
Okay.
It all starts with the screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF.
Rank.com.
Or
greatfuckingscreens.com.
Yeah.
For sure. Quit fucking around.
Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
If you or your art department could use some love, then you need to go to 1-900-HOTSTUFF.com and get in touch with Nick or Lucas.
Nick Lucas.
At Graphic Source. They do a whole lot more than just art, so hit them up and find out how they can make your shop
Great again.
Yes.
Why are we not doing that? Make your shop great again, hats.
I think you know why. Choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromoline. Go to chromoline.com to watch Kev's vids or contact him on
Kev's vids.
Instagram, Kev's vids, at the Emulsion Guru and get the answers you need. Last, but definitely not least, if your shop is like ours and you're running more and more DTF and plastisol transfers, then you need a partner that can get you quality transfers fast. Check out Howard Custom Transfers at howardct.com. And while you're there, order yourself a sample pack.
Yes. They have a million different products.
They do. And they have the best sample pack in the biz.
They do, for real.
Dylan, our guest today is Dylan Gilligan from Upstate Merch.
Oh, sounds sexy.
And the Andy Redman from
Short Dong.
Mhm.
You want to stretch first?
Yeah, we should do that. We should do a little stretch.
I feel like most of what we talk about is stretching and our bodies aching anyway, so we might as well get it out of the way.
Yeah, so when Chris was here, he said that he's been going to a place called the Stretch Zone. And have you heard of it?
Have I?
So I was like, what is this? And so he goes, yeah, you go to this place and they stretch you. And so I Googled it, and there's one like 5 minutes from my house.
This is expensive.
Yeah, I don't know, but you just get stretched.
Okay.
It's different when you stretch yourself or if someone else stretches you. We should talk about something else. So let's go on. Let's move on to
I'm trying so hard. It's dangerous territory. I know we talked about doing something that's just me and you. We're going to get real deep and heart to heart. And I know we had a personal phone call the other day, and I was telling you how I lost all hope in humanity. And you told me that you just got done having a talk with Joanne about how you need to be more like me, where I have all the optimism and all the hope for humanity. So here we are.
Yeah, like you said, like, oh, we're switching roles now or something, because I'm definitely an optimist. I think that what I was referring to is that, whenever you have such a way about you, and it's really like, I'm not trying to like blow smoke here, like for real, people
no,
like
go
you.
ahead. It's fine. I like to hear it.
They like for real. This is real talk here. You like most people. It's hard for you not to like somebody. They have to really fuck up.
I'm extremely trusting to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
That's
to
my
a
problem.
fault. I don't know. Like,
it's to a fault because I shouldn't trust everybody.
I usually trust everyone until they give me a reason not to. I mean, I think I go, that's kind of how I operate.
Yeah.
But I was telling Joanne that, man, I was like, I think something happened, and I was like, man, that person, they can go suck a fuck. Like, I was pissed at this person. It was like nothing really even to be pissed about, really, but it just
so petty
made me pissed. And so I was like, I was mad, I suppose. And I was like, Joanne, I need to chill out. It's all fine. I need to be more like Dylan. And, not let these kind of things bother me. And then you called me, and then you were like me, you were like, I'm like more
this
like
person
Andy.
Can go
like,
suck a fuck.
Exactly. And, but I like to think I'm optimistic, and I kind of go throughout my day with optimism. And I think that's really important. I think that's,
I don't want to bring this down, but I think the problem is for me recently is, I don't know, over the last maybe 6-8 months, I've been going through the shop, and I've been looking at things, trying to look at things objectively and be like, okay, like I've built this thing for however many years now, since 2009, and I've kind of always done things in a way that worked until now, basically. Like I was like owning a screen printing shop, and I hired people that were good people, and I hired friends, and I was like, let's make this place fun, and let's do all these things to where it's like a good time and whatever. But not everybody's like me, and not everybody's like my friends, where we can do those things, but we can also separate work from fun times. And the guys that are closest to me that have been here for forever have respect. We all have respect for each other. Like, not just, outside of work, but also like, I don't ever have to say anything. They're just like, I'm staying 3 hours late, or I'll come in on Saturday, or I'll do this, I'll do that. Like, I never have to ask. And I shouldn't have to. They just know, like, hey, this is what we need to like do this thing or keep this place running or whatever. So for me, I'm that person where I strongly feel like it's like a fucking Western where I'm like, I give a friend a handshake and I give him my word, and like that shit's fucking till death. Like, it's like my word means something. Like, I don't tell someone something and then behind their back just be like, well, fuck that, I'm not doing that. It's stupid. Like, it means something to me. So when you hire people and they're not in that headspace at all, and they just take advantage of your kindness, or they, they do shit behind your back, or they take advantage of, not every screen printing shop or any job for that matter gives away like the amount of fucking free food or free fuck around time or grilling or movie night and all this other shit that we do. And then they just expect it, and they're bitchy about it when it doesn't happen, or they think they can call in sick every other day because their tum hurts. And it's just like, because they know Dylan's not going to say no. I'm going to say, yeah, whatever, fucking stay home. But in my mind, I'm like losing chunks of respect for them every time they're doing the shit they're not supposed to be doing. So I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm just ranting at this point. But it got to the point with a couple employees here. All right, I'm going to reel it back. So over the last 8 months, I've been looking at the shop of like, okay, I need to legitimize some things here to where it's not a fucking free for all. So I put managers in place, and Bill used to work for years as like a head manager at Spencer's, and he was the guy that Spencer's would send to all these other stores to train the managers and stuff. So he was really good at managing, good at HR, all those things. So I asked him, I was like, hey, and he's also like, the man in the shop. So I was like, hey, like, would you be cool if I gave you a raise and you were just shop manager and you took over HR out there and all this shit? And he was fucking all about it. So we did that. And then he also came to me now with like, all right, well, this is what we should have in place. We should have like, the employee handbook, and we should do this and this and this and all these things. So I put all that in place, and then all these people that were tainted from, the old guard of I'm in charge of my own shit, and, this person's an asshole because they don't keep up with this, but I'll never tell them that, and I'll never train them right. I'll just sit in my corner and complain. Those people kind of had problems with our new rules and our new way of doing things and everything. And then we kind of had to sit them down and be like, you can't do this anymore. You can't smoke weed on the job, or you can't fucking scream obscenities across the shop to other people, because there's people here. It's 2023. People get offended. Like, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Like, we're trying to make this place a little bit more like fucking legitimized when it comes to things like that. And a lot of that I've learned over the show, or things from you with like, you're going hard with like the OSHA stuff and all these other things. And it makes me think like, fuck, I don't have anything. Like, people are walking around barefoot or fucking flip flops, or, I don't have certain things in place. I'm like, fuck, I really should do this because, I'm whatever. And the other part of it is too, is like, I'm a different person right now. Like, I got divorced and I live in an apartment, and I'm like thinking about my health and my life and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I want to travel and I want to do more industry things and I want to do this and this. And this has kind of been going on for like a while. And now it's like, well, what if I'm not here? What if I decide to go to Texas for a week with you to do something? Like, how is like the shop runs when I'm not here, but it's also like there's no actual shit in place to where if something happens, they, you know, I've got my people that can run it, but it's not the same as having like rules and regulations and all that other stuff in place. So when I called you, it was because we're still going through this old guard of people, and we had to fire somebody on Friday, and then not to get too into detail of what they did, but it was like HR issues and all this other stuff. And basically we let him go over the weekend, and, you know, Bill was doing it because he's in charge, and he asked him like, hey, do you want text message or do you want a phone call? Like, I need to talk to you. And he's like, I'd rather text. So Bill texted him the whole thing. And then he was like, okay, wow. Like, I'll come in on Monday and I want to talk to you and Dylan about it. And then on Monday, he didn't show up. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, in back of my mind, I'm like, fuck yeah, because I didn't want to do this. But I was fully ready to do it. And then I got like a ton of text messages from him on Tuesday of just like, you're a shit boss. And, you know, I really wish I had a boss while I was there. And like, just all this stuff like that he didn't need to say. Like, he went through and was texting everybody here and like airing out all his dirty laundry about things. And it was just like, I was like, dude, you just fucked yourself so hard. Like, like you said, me trying to be a nice guy, I was going to like let him go on unemployment for a little while. And if some other employer called and said, how is this person? I would have been like, yeah, he's great. You should hire him, you know, whatever. Now it's like, dude, no fucking way in hell am I doing that. Like, yeah. I'm not gonna do anything for you. You just like straight up were a dickhead. Like, you weren't professional at all about this. So then I called you right after that, and you just topped it with some more bad news about some other things we can talk about at another time.
Well, I don't know. I think first, you know, I don't think Zoom picks up applause, but I'm just clapping. I'm clapping here because, you know, it's a part of, I think that you are maturing, and some of it is because of what you're going through in your personal life. And then also you're maturing as a company. You know, we all do that. We still are. I'll never be totally mature. In my head, I'm kind of like 17 still, you know,
yeah,
mature level. You know, and I think that it's really important to do because, and we were the same way, man. Like, we used to be this small, tight group of people when I would say we were more like, we were under 10. I don't know how many people were here, but under 10, let's say. So tight that like I would spend the night, we would all go out and I would spend the night sometimes on somebody's couch because just where we ended up or whatever. And we would all go to happy hour together. You know, it was just a different feeling altogether. Mm-hmm. And at some point it started to shift, and I don't know where it happened, but some of those people left and there's new people, and then we grew, and, you know, we sort of lost that. Is it better now? I don't know that it is. You know, I don't know if I like it anymore. I think that we're definitely a better company as a whole. Like, this place operates way more efficiently and
as a business.
Yeah. I think at some point you do have to have rules, because all of a sudden it shifts. Like you're skate, you know, like here you are, and you're like, you're stoked to have this business that, you know, you're with your buds and you're having fun. And then it sort of goes like this. And then next thing you know, like it's not that anymore. It's not that way anymore. And I think I miss a lot of those things, but honestly, I don't know. I think I would keep it here.
I'm trying to keep a lot of that stuff. It's not like I'm getting rid of that. It's not like my focus was like, I need to work my way out of this, or I need to like make this place more legit so that, you know, it's just a machine. Like, I'm just more looking at things of like, okay, like if we are growing past 12 employees or whatever, and we have, you know, I think the problem is that we're out of people we know. You know what I mean? Everyone that's here is like someone that somebody knows. No, and I understand that. And I mean, I know you're used to that because you're hiring and firing people that are local and you don't know them. Like, they're randos from fucking Taco Bell and strangers and everything else. And that's the thing is, like, we're out of like, okay, we had 12 people, and they usually have a buddy or a relative or something that they're like, oh, so and so needs a job. You hire them, and then you can trust them to a degree because they're friends of whatever. And now it's just like we're out of those options. Like, so we're hiring random people, and then the randos come in, and they have their whole other set of values and everything else, and shit happens. Like, people file for workers' comp and fucking all this other shit that like the normal people that are here might not.
So I think I got it. Last Monday, a new guy started here. His name was Andy. He's the third. There's 3 Andys here now. So what you need to do is hire a Dylan for sure. At least 2 more Dylans. So yeah, so there's 3. You need a few Dylans at your shop.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something to it because he was awesome. Both Andys, in fact, all Andys. They're all the Andys, whatever they're.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of you in your own head thinking that Andy rules.
No, they do. No, that's not. No, I mean, you could ask anybody here. They really do.
I have great people. Everyone here is great. It's just that there's like human aspects to things, and like if you don't have it written down in a handbook, yeah, you want to protect your ass when like stupid shit happens and legally blah blah blah. But it's like there's always those things where it's like I think the one that's funny is like the dress code. You know what I mean? Like you think in your head, you're like, okay, you're in the office, like you should probably dress a certain way. Like this seems like common sense. You know what I mean? Like you should just dress. You should get up in the morning and put pants on and then a shirt and whatever, look respectable. Not like you should fucking show up to work in the same clothes you went to bed in pajamas and you put your fuzzy slippers on and went to work. Like
no. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Is it's like stuff like that where I'm like, okay, like little things like that happen, and you're all the people other than that person are like whispering to each other, like, why the fuck is this person here in their pajamas? And it's like it gets to a point where like there's a bunch of things like that in the shop all over the place. Of like, why is this person smoking weed all day long, or why is this person doing fucking cartwheels across the shop while other people are working, or it could be anything like that. And you're just like, well, probably because we don't have it fucking written down. We have nothing written down to say you can't do that thing.
Yeah, I was talking to a shop last week, and she said, I have this employee, and they just text constantly, and I don't know how to approach it. And I said, so do you have a policy? Like, is it in your employee handbook? How can you text or not? And if so, how much? And she says, no, I don't have an employee handbook. And so I said, well, I mean, I would say go up to them and say, like with a verbal warning, that's what I do here is like, hey, I understand that you have to text on occasion and you have, family outside here you have to communicate with. That's fine. But you're to the point where it's too much. It's distracting for, you and your team around you and everything like that. And you got to knock it off. But unless you have something in writing, they're going to say, well, I didn't, I didn't know, like everybody else is fucking doing or whatever, and so
that to a T is exactly why we're doing what we're doing, is because I'm sick of saying you probably shouldn't do that. It's common sense. But I feel like my common sense and someone else's common sense are not the same thing.
Exactly. True. That's true.
So that's what I'm saying is like, that's my legitimizing this place over the last 8 months. It's just like my mind is in one way and other people who get hired here now just don't think the same as me. And when I see them doing something, I'm like, why are you doing that? It makes no sense. Or even just calling in sick. Like, I get that people get sick and like there's a lot of shit going around and everyone's sick or whatever. But if there's no, like, what's it called? I'm fucking blanking on it now. There's no policy for like
attendance,
sick days or attendance or anything, then they're just going to do it every week. They're going to be like, oh, wow, I ate a burrito this morning and I have to fucking take a shit. They're like, can I go home? It's like, no, go to the fucking bathroom and take care of it and go back to work. Like, you know what I mean? There's no repercussions for doing that. And it's funny, like I love this industry so much. I love the people. I love our friends. It's so like, I feel like we could get the answers to any question that we have at this point with the amount of people we know and friends and everything else. And it's like you put out feelers where you're like, hey, does anybody have like an attendance form that has point system or something? And it just shows up. Like friends will be like, I have one, I built one, whatever. And I think I got Allison's from Parkway.
Yeah, I was gonna say Parkway has a good one.
Yeah, Parkway has a great one. And it's like, if you call in, it's half a point or whatever it is. And then every 6 months it goes back to 0. And it's like a 6-point thing where like if you no call, no show, it's 5 points. And then you get a verbal warning and all this other stuff. And at 6 points, it's like, get the fuck out of here. Like there's just all these things where it's like, now I have that. And we presented it to every employee here. They signed off on it. I have it on paper that they signed it, all this other stuff. To where now if they call in sick, I'm like, cool, that's fine. You call in sick. Your fucking tummy hurts, whatever. It's just a point. Like if you get to 6 points, you don't fucking work here anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to just keep saying things over and over again. Is the point of this. It's not to like be a dick or make this a machine or.
And also it's clear.
Factor.
Like they understand the expectations of attendance, let's say,
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so I hijacked the last like half an hour. Like I know you had plans for this, so and optimism. I feel like everything I've been saying isn't optimistic.
I think it is. No, I think it is optimistic. I think that you are. I think you're confident about the future, and if you see a problem, then you do something about it, and you've noticed that, hey, wait, this is becoming an issue. And you want change. And so you're able to do something about it. You have the confidence to do something about it, and you are. And so, I mean, that's going to happen forever as long as you own your business. You're going to change again, or the business is going to change, or the industry is going to change, or everybody that's working there now, they'll be all new people, and so you have to have the ability to change and adapt. So I have a few questions though.
Okay, shoot.
So what drives you to get up every day and go to the shop? Like, well, how can you do that every day? What's your motivator to go to work every day? Even if you have a shitty day like you did last Friday, you're going to wake up, you're going to go to work on Monday. You keep doing that and you keep trying to make it better. Like, why? Why do you do that?
I honestly don't know. That's a super deep thing. I feel like total honesty is that I built this and I can't let it fail. And I don't feel like it's anywhere near failure. Like it's doing very, very well. But I also fucking love it. Like I love everything about it. I love that my friends are here. I love that I get to walk in. Like I love my routine. Like I get up in the morning from the alarm. I, get all my shit together. I take my fucking vitamins. I drink my water. I leave from my apartment. I go to the house. I pick up the kids. I take them to school. I go to the lake. I walk. I get sunshine. It's fucking awesome for like an hour. I'll listen to a music or a book or something. I'll come to work with my iced tea and my breakfast sandwich, and I'll sit here and I'll watch YouTube for half an hour. And I start to hear people roll in and I say hi and how's your day and this and this. And I hear their stories in the morning. And then I turn music on my computer and I dive into my inbox. And, in my inbox is projects that I want to work on, like specific things that are there for me. And, I'll go through those and then I'll answer other people's questions. And there's always shit in the shop that needs my attention. And it's different every day. And I joke with my friends, and on lunch, like we eat something good, or we've been going to play basketball at the basketball court on lunch or whatever. It's just fun. Like I'm just fucking around. Like it's my playground all day. And then at 5:00, we play video games for a little bit if we want to, or I go home, or we grill, or we go to the movies or whatever. I'm a fucking grown ass man with grown up money, and I can just do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I fucking love this thing. I love this place. I love everything about it. And I'm in charge. Like it's my decision to do things, which is the best part. I'm like, I want to fix this, or I want to make this better, or I want to put up a funny sign, or I want to do this. It's all mine. It's my shit. It's fun.
Are you hiring?
You in a heartbeat.
I'd come up and do that every day too. You described a really good day, I think. I think I'm similar in a lot of ways. You know, I like my routine also. I think I want to take back what I said about I wouldn't trade to go back in time to where it was, you know, a tight, smaller place. I think I would, but it's kind of one of those things like, would you trade to go back to being younger? Yeah, you want to feel younger and have that fun and do all that kind of shit, but you don't mentally want that because you've learned so much. And so like really hard to make that choice because, okay, so here's the answer. If I could go back to when it was smaller and everybody was closer, I would do that as long as I know everything that I know now, you know, but that's cheating. So I think that what motivates me, I wasn't going to answer this, but since you've inspired me, I was asking you this question. But I think that what motivates me is a lot of that same stuff in that I like the never boring, always exciting thrill of like what this place means. It's action
Yeah.
fucking packed, like nonstop. And I think I would say that I probably spend half of my day walking around doing things, helping support the team. And then I spend maybe a quarter of my day after I notice something, like trying to fix that or work on that.
Yeah, researching
And
it.
then, yeah, or, you know, like I just happened to walk, you know, I didn't know it, but here I go. I walk by the dryer and I see something and I'm like, wait, this is wrong. What's going on? Like this needs to be fixed. And so I go to whoever here can help me with that, or I do it on my own. You know what I mean? And so like and those are all
Yeah.
surprises. Like I didn't know that when I got here in the morning. But just because I've been doing this for so long, my instinct says, wait, something's wrong. You know, I just noticed something's, I don't know, out of whack. And then the other quarter of my day is probably emails, answering questions, taking my best guess at questions, I should say. I really don't know the answer to most of them, but
I think a
just
lot
take
of
a
it
good
though,
guess.
honestly, is just like pride. Like I'm prideful that this is mine. I built this, and I like the fact that like, you know, in my town, people know that it's my thing and it's something that I built and it's my building and it's my this. And I feel proud that I fucking did something because I didn't come from anything. You know what I mean? It's not like anything was handed. I started this company in a basement and then I got to where I could afford the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it's like you were saying too, like, I don't remember exactly what you were saying, but it's like, oh, going back. Like, I don't want to go back because I think if you were to ask me or Bill or Chris or Brian or people who've been here for forever, it's like everything we did was the fucking hard way. Like there was never the easy way. And it's always like what can go wrong goes wrong. All like 100% us. Like even me and my dad call it like the Gilligan curse because like everything goes wrong constantly. And we're constantly battling to like do things right. Like here, even at this shop, there was months and I mean years of like the office was heated by a fucking kerosene heater in the middle of the room. And like we had like black boogers and like the water, the toilet, the literal water in the toilet would freeze. Like it would be solid frozen because we had a shit heating system or we could only afford like wood to heat the place. And the wood was always like cut a month before we fucking burned it. So it was wet. So I would throw it in the stove and the shit would boil water out of it. And like it never got up to temp. The place was freezing. Like stupid shit like that where you're just like, why did we do it that way? And the reason why is because we didn't know what we didn't know. And like we were just trying to do what we could to get to the next step where we could afford better heating system for the building. And like a million things like that. Like there's a million things exactly like that we went through to get to where we are now. And that's where part of me again is like we hire new people, they come in and they're like, it's 68 degrees in here instead of 70. And it's like, dude, I will kill you. Like we literally had icicles on our upper lip mustache 6 years ago, and you're complaining about it being 68 instead of 70. And it's just like,
yeah,
I'm happy where I am right now. Like my life rules. I'm happy with what's going on. Yeah, I have personal stuff. I'm working through it, but other things are coming along that are great. And like, You know,
Mhm.
I'm stoked on everything. Like I really can't complain about anything. So the long answer to your question is just like, you know, I love this place. I could never do anything else.
I think all that stuff right there that you just described is the game. Like you love the game, and
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's just
Which is
shit
why
goes.
in this podcast, without me giving all that backstory, anytime anyone asks like, at what age are you going to sell the building or sell the company and retire? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I just feel like I'm getting past I bought a heater and I can survive in my building without feeling like death. Like, I'm going to be here until I die. And that's what I say. But, you know, you never know what happens 20 years from now.
So do you think you can get your team to feel the same way as you do?
I feel like 99% of them do. I
How
feel
do you do
like
that?
honestly couldn't tell you. I feel like it's what people say company culture is, but like I really am not trying to create company culture. I'm really not. Like the things that we do that are fun are just really me trying to do things that are fun with my friends and have the company pay for it. Like if I grill on Wednesday, it's because I want to grill with my best friends and the other people that work here get to partake too.
So
Or like,
I think that I think primarily like your primary motivation is not to build company culture, but I think as a like secondary, I think as a byproduct of what you like to do, that's just
yeah,
natural. It's natural. Like
like,
that's
yeah,
what
all are
happens.
welcome. It's not like I'm like, oh, I guess I have to do this so everybody can come. Like, no, I love everybody here and I want them to come. I want them to do all these
Mhm.
things. But I think the company culture is that we number one, we like to print rad shit. We like to have the best tools and quality and all this other stuff. But it's also like, we'll blare hip hop or something in the shop and we're all out there, you know, Rosie's fucking dancing at the end of the dryer and Bill's singing along and everybody's throwing tape balls at each other, or we're just having fun. Like we're trying to print and have fun and just do our jobs and get paid. And we just like what we do. I mean, it's funny. Like Bill asked me last week if he could have his son's birthday party here because we have the big office and the room and everything. And I was like, hell yeah. And it's just like these people that are their family members or his wife's family members show up and they're like, oh, what is this place? Is this someone's house?
Hmm.
Like all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is our office. And like they're stoked on it. And his kid said to Bill, he's like, this is my dream job someday. And Bill was just like, yeah, this is my dream job. And like, you know, the funny thing part of it is his kid thought that like part of his dad's work was to play Xbox. So I mean that's probably why he thought it was his
Kind of
dream job.
is.
But
Kind of is.
yeah, but it's just like I don't know. Like I'm not trying to make this place, and I'm not thinking when I do something like, oh, this is going to create the proper company culture. Well, it's just like I just want to make it fun. That's all. That's the end of it.
Yeah,
So
I think that's really hard to do though. You know, maybe one of your gifts is the ability to create that company culture just naturally, like it just without any effort, basically. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to try.
yeah.
It just happens. And I think that maybe it's easier because these are your bros, you know, they're your friends, and it's not maybe it is easier when it's like that.
Yeah,
Um,
if I had 150 people here, I don't think I can maintain the same company culture. It's not like I can take 150 people to steak in the movies.
Not even 50. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Right. Yeah.
changes.
I'm just saying that like
Mm,
but it's also the 10 presses or 2 presses question.
mm.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
I want to stay at like 12, 15 people.
Hmm.
Like I want that for forever. Like I have zero plans to be 20, 30, 40 people. Like it's
Well,
just not going
I,
to happen.
I think for someone listening that is growing or having growing pains and is dealing with some HR things, and they feel like it's out of their control, you know, and they're trying, and because there's so many variables, right? There's just all of these things that are happening. It's not just one thing. I think for somebody listening and they hear what you just said about your company culture, and then, you know, my question is, was like, how do you get people to feel the same way about your shop that you do? I think that's part of what you just said, is make it fun. I understand it's work too, because you've got to get work done. But I think you have to make it fun.
And
And how
that's
do
the
you do
hardest
that?
part.
Yeah, how do you do that? I think you have to communicate. I think you have to communicate. Communication's key. Like it used to be when there was just a few of us, if I didn't have to communicate, honestly, really, because I was the one that was outputting the film, or I was the one that was running the press. I was the one that was making the screen. I didn't have to tell somebody or train somebody, or, if I made a change on the art, I knew that if I didn't have to make a new piece of film, maybe I could just cut it off, or I can make the screen and tape it off or something. Whereas now we are totally fucked if anything like that happens. Like you have to. So, I mean, communication is so important, not just throughout your shop, but communication is, I guess what I mean is like just check-ins, maybe like checking in with people. And do they like their routine? You know what I'm saying? Is their routine cool? Because maybe it's not.
And I think the takeaway from this is like, I'm learning constantly too. Like, it's not like me and you have this fucking podcast and we're like the experts and everything, because we're not like even close. And it's like, I'm still learning things as I go. And I think one of the things that I came about over, like I said, the last 8 months is like, you should have these things in place, this, employee handbook and all this other stuff. And it's like, what I really should have done is I should have wrote this thing like 10 years ago. I should have adjusted it every year. I should have gone through in January and like read it through again myself and been like, what did we learn from our mistakes this year, and add it to the handbook.
You weren't
So if
ready yet.
anybody's listening to this, fucking do it from the start. Like, do the employee handbook and do the attendance thing, all this stuff, so that it doesn't build up these things, and then you do it later, and then you have to fire half your staff because they're dickheads. Like, do it early so that everyone knows what the rules are and they know the process and everything. I just got to the point where I was like, oh yeah, I should probably do this. And there's good things, obviously, but there's a lot of things that are biting me in the ass.
Yeah.
Next question.
Next question. How important is health?
Look at me. I'm a picture of health.
I would say that you are practicing much better. Somebody out there?
Yeah, hold on a second. Come in. Okay. A little bit. Why? Oh, okay. That's fine. Perfect example. Chris is here with some friends to watch wrestling at the shop because we have the big couch and the TVs. So there you go. They're here on a Sunday to watch wrestling.
That's awesome.
We don't have
health. Yes. Okay. So I think that, I don't know when it was, a year ago, and we've talked about this before in the show. I think that, me personally, and look, I give my opinions. You were saying this a minute ago. Like, I give my perspective, let's call it, and I could be totally fucking wrong, but I just share this perspective with what I've learned over time, and I hope that it starts a conversation. Like, if you disagree with it, then fine, but at least there's a conversation there. And if you agree with it, if you take away something good from it, cool. I hope that, and we tell stories over and over sometimes, but I think that it'd be really cool if, you never know when, like, one time you tell that story, it might affect somebody, or they might hear it and say, oh, like you were telling this employee handbook story. I know we talked about it before, but now all of a sudden somebody out there hopefully will go get an employee handbook for their shop. Wouldn't that be cool?
I think the funny part about that is us telling stories over and over again and all this other stuff is, it's like, every time I tell it or I do something is because I altered it in some way. Like, I'm, like I said, still constantly improving things or growing things. So if I bring it up again, it's because I tweaked something. And it's like, I'm at the point now where, like, I feel like the fruits of our labor on that whole thing is like happening. And, last week we kind of had let some people go and we got some new people in and all this other stuff. And like, we kind of sat back and we're like, fuck, this is working. Like, so-and-so like Bill's brother Zach on press, like he had to call in sick, and one of the things he had to do based on the thing was that he had a doctor's note. You know, he was out sick with fucking, I don't know, some weird COVID strain that everyone is getting again. And he went and got a doctor's note, and he was out for 4 days or whatever it is. And I think back to your question with health, this is like, again, my same thing. Like I went ragged for like the last, whatever, however, since 2009 till a year ago, where I was just like sitting at my desk all day, and I didn't walk that much other than just around the shop, or I ate like an asshole, and I ate a lot of fast food because it was like close by and all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, I got personal shit going on. And when I, you know, kind of working on that, I was like, you know, I've always loved to walk. I remember in high school and middle school, I would walk from my parents' house to everywhere. I would had a fucking Discman, and I had a backpack. Only in my backpack was a fucking 500 CD booklet, and I would just walk around and change CDs out, and I would just walk to a friend's house or walk to this or whatever. And it's like, when I got thinking about health here recently, I was like, I love walking. I'm just going to start walking. So I'm doing the lake stuff, or I took up hiking a year ago, and I'm really getting into that. And that was something I wrote down today because I knew we were talking about our own life stuff. Was that like, I'm kind of thinking this summer where I'm just going to work 4 days a week. And then 1 day a week, depending on what day it works out, I'm going to try to go hike somewhere. I'm just going to drive to the Catskills or drive to Adirondacks or something, and just go for a fucking hike by myself, just to like get out there and do something. And it's like, I've been really trying and swapping out different things as far as vitamins and, you know, other things to like try to make me feel better. And I've been taking our buddy from Floodpole's advice on the liquid IV in the morning. So like the first thing I do in the morning now is I take a liquid IV with water, and I chug the whole thing, and I go for my walk. And then you're not really supposed to have caffeine until like at least an hour and a half after you wake up. So by the time I get back from the walk, I have caffeine here with collagen, and I have a magnesium supplement that I take. And then I start my day, and I actually feel better. Like I feel more energized, and I'm clarity in my head, and I feel like I can get more work done because I'm focused and all this other stuff. So I don't know. I'm at that age though. I feel like I'm at that age where like I can't keep fucking around. Like I have to think about things. I have to think about stretching, and what is that place called again? The stretch zone. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up for sure. That's a jerk off station for sure. Maybe I'll look into the stretch zone. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be part of your routine soon.
It might be.
Yeah, I think all of that stuff is incredibly important. And we as small business owners, you know, we're so many of us are owner operators, you know, like we are just in like the thick of it. Like somebody doesn't show up and I'm on press, or, you know what I mean? Like we are so used to doing that. And when that's all done, you haven't gotten to some of your emails. And so you're working late, and then you ignore, you know, getting exercise, or you ignore eating right, or you ignore taking your vitamins and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine for a week or whatever, but all of a sudden, like 10 years go by, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And
that 100% happened to me. Before I had Upstate, I worked at Sears, and I installed appliances, and I was fucking like, I don't know, like 260, or not 260. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what I weighed, because I never fucking weighed myself, because I was totally fine. But like I was thin, I had long hair, I was fucking kind of jacked because I was fucking picking up refrigerators and fucking washing dryers and carrying them up people's fucking stairs and everything else. And then I started this job, and then I just kind of got fat because I just fucking sit at a goddamn desk all day long. And then when it's like, oh yeah, I should feed myself, it's like drive to fucking, I don't know, some local pizza place or something, eat pizza or something shitty, and then I go back to sitting again. And then when I get home, I'm burnt out and tired, and I sit on the couch and I watch TV, and then I probably eat past 8 or whatever. And then I go to bed, and I do it all over again for 15 years or whatever. And now I'm like, fuck, I cannot do that I cannot do that anymore. Like, I need to like eat salads for lunch, or you know, think about not eating this for breakfast, or drink a shitload. Like, I've been drinking so much fucking water. It's ridiculous.
Well, what I have to say about that is it may seem like a lot or overwhelming, to start exercising or don't, join a gym. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go join a gym or anything like that. Just start with walking, especially now because the
Yeah, I
weather's
love it.
changing, and
It's
you can easily go for a walk at maybe before work or during
it's part of
lunch,
my
or
routine though. Now I need to do it. Like, I feel like
like
I
you
want
miss
to do
it
it.
probably if you
Yeah, I
don't
miss it
get
if I
to.
don't do it. 100%.
Yeah. So start small, like just start doing something and chip away at it. That's how I approach most things, that seem like too much. Start chipping away.
I think thinking about all the stuff we're talking about, and I know you're ahead of me in life in general, just based on age, but like, where are you at in that cycle? Like, I know we've talked about how you were where I was, and then at 35, I am at this stage that I'm at in business and life and everything, and you're in a different spot. Where, in progression wise, where are you in this whole thing? Like, what do I have to look forward to?
I would say that it doesn't really hit you age-wise. It doesn't really hit you until you have a health scare, and
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be like a disease or anything like that. It could be my back or whatever, it just all of a sudden, I think that, I have been so fortunate that for all of my life, I've really been pretty healthy. I've never had any major issues. I can't believe it. I go to the doctor and I fill out the form that says, what medications are you on? I'm like, I take a vitamin,
The funny
in the
thing, the
morning.
funny thing about you, and I think you know
Mhm.
this to a degree, but it's funny when people talk behind your back. Um, everybody I've ever talked to, everybody I've ever known, even myself for the longest time, dude, we did this. I knew you way before this podcast. I knew you obviously during this podcast. I found out during this podcast that you weren't 4 years older than me. I
Yeah,
asked
well,
you once. It was, when I learned how old you were.
hmm.
And not saying you're old, but I'm just saying, like, I learned when we did book club and we read Matthew McConaughey's book.
I said I was the same age.
You said you were the same age, and I was like, haha, funny joke. And then I was like, wait, hold on, hold the phone. So the funny thing
Well,
is about that whole thing is that everybody thinks that because you look like you're like fucking in your like 35.
well, thank you, Dylan.
You're a
I would
picture of
say,
health.
I would
And
say that
you drink fucking stem cells in the morning for breakfast, I think.
I would say that that's probably attributed to, like I said earlier, mentally, I'm about 17. I'm pretty immature most of the time. Unless I guess I'm at the shop, then I try and put on my adult pants. And then also, like I've said before, the spray out gun, I inhale a lot of that over
Right.
the years. And that just, I think that's really good for your cells or something.
Well, it's just funny
Um,
too. Like, side note from that of like, we've been doing this for we're almost on what, 3 years of
3 years, I
podcast
think next month. Yeah.
without missing a week.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that I've learned just from doing this about us in general and as friends, and all this other stuff is like, we never got into this thinking that like I had one worldview and I acted a certain way, and you had a different worldview and you acted a certain way, that like we were like, oh, this is going to work because of this or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we have different opinions and it's
Mhm.
funny and whatever, but we never knew that was the case. We just did it and found out that like we like to bust each other's balls and we have different opinions on things, and you're bougie and I'll eat out of the garbage can. Like, there's things like that we've learned. And I think also too that like I take from this is like, I literally trust you a ton when it comes to like advice because of like where you're at and what you've done and whatever. And there's certain people, other people that like I'll call and I'll be like, I'm at this point or I'm doing this or whatever. And then they give me good advice. So back to my original question of like, where are you now is just like, I don't know. I just want to know like what you're thinking as far as you and Shirt Kong and everything else.
All right. I'll do my best here because I haven't thought about this. All I can say is like my answer would be that recently I had this thing that I thought for sure like I'm out of the game. Like I can't physically print t-shirts anymore. I can't lift a fucking box of t-shirts when UPS is at our dock and they're putting them down.
I mean,
there.
that was hard before.
Well, I mean, seriously though, that's defeating, you know, like I want to chip in. Like I said earlier, like I want to go do stuff. I want to be sure. I like running the shop, but I also like doing some of the things sometimes. Like I want to
printing and participating.
I do. Like every week I try to make it a point to be on press for a minute because why? Because that's what I started doing. That's why I started doing this. Cause I was printing a shirt and it's god awful to go through a whole week and not be involved in the making of something. And so I don't know. It was funny. Like I coded screens the other week, I should say. And you know how the screen racks go from, I don't know, about 6 foot tall or whatever they are to the bottom. I could only put screens in like to my waist. Like I'm not bending over to put screens down on the bottom. And so I have to get help. Like if I'm going to code all the screens in the room, then I can't. I can code half of them. You know,
you get them all loaded, and people are like, "Why the fuck didn't he do the bottom quarter of all these racks?"
Yeah. And like, so that was pretty heavy, actually. To, you know, just driving to work was hard, and so I started to. It got me to shift my perspective and think differently. You know, I think that just happened for the first time in my life. Like my health and this place, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to go on walks again, and so that shook me, you know, like pretty hard. And I think that it happened maybe for a reason. And now I'm even more grateful. I'm already grateful when I'm on walks. I'm like, man, this is beautiful. Look at that sunset. We send each other sunset.
I was gonna
pics.
say we need to let people know that like you figured that shit out and you conquered it for the most part, right? Like you're
I'm way
you're good again.
Am I good again? No, I'm way better. I'm not saying that I can't be. It's gonna be a long process. I think the whole year, I would say.
You just learned how to stretch.
The stretch zone. You gotta like look
and,
them up.
And you also took time for yourself. Like you relaxed and lay down.
Fortunately, I'm in a position where I can not come here and I can lay down. I was getting gas at QT Quick Trip on Friday, and I saw this. I got out to clean my windshield, which I have to do very carefully. But I saw this dude. He was from a what's it called? Tree place, you know. And he has this. He's pulling a trailer and he's in a truck, and he gets out of his truck to go back to hit the trailer to get something, and he's like walking like this, you know, like his back's fucked. And I wanted to like go up to him and say, dude,
like, I learned these things.
I can help you, but I didn't want to be weird.
We had this discussion on the way to Atlantic City because we really like stopping at the Allentown, Pennsylvania, like truck stop. It's got like, I don't know, it's got like a what is it, Cinnabon and like all these other things. And Brian's a sweet freak, so he was like all for stopping for Cinnabon. Funny thing is, we're driving. It's probably, I don't know, 2.5-2 hour drive to Allentown. And we get out, and all of us, like me, Brian, and Bill, we got out and we were all like, oh my God, my hip, my back. Like we could hear bones popping as we were getting out of the vehicle. And we're all mid-30s. And we're like, how the fuck do people live to be like 80, 85? I was like, they have to be screaming in pain the entire time. I was like, we're not even halfway. And we're fucking getting out being like, I feel like I'm going to die right now. like, how do you do it when you get to be like 90 years old? Like, I would just be like, kill me now.
Good question. I guess they figure it out, you know. I don't know, man. I think I'm in the now. I'm trying to be in the now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's like a cliche saying at the moment,
No, yeah, I
right now
fully
or
get it.
whatever, but I'm trying to be present and I'm trying to slow down because, man, I'm here and I'm like, wait, you know, I need to soak this up while I'm here and slow down and smell the roses and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
for sure.
And I think that's probably what I'm doing. I think that's the answer is like, where am I? If that's the question, whatever.
Mhm.
I'm super present. I'm not even thinking like I used to try and see around corners so much. You know, I think I have a very good intuition on maybe what's next. You know what I mean? Like what's trending or something like that. Like what should I, you know, with this business, like what should I do? How should we, I don't know,
Yeah,
decorate the front or what piece of equipment should I buy next and all this kind of stuff. I think that's really important to always be looking around corners for your shop, right? And try
I
and
feel like
figure out.
I feel like we're still very much in that regardless. Like, we talk about like being health and out of the business and working on the business and all this other stuff, but I feel like me and you and a bunch of people we know are very involved when it comes to like, what are we doing next in this industry? Like, how do we stay ahead of it? Like, there's a couple chats, and we joked before about Mild Boys chat or whatever, but like that chat is so helpful and productive and on the like on it when it comes to new stuff and like ways to evolve and all this other stuff. And it's like, that's one thing that back to your question of like what motivates me every day is there's like a lot of things where, like I told you like 2 or 3 podcasts ago, that I'm working on like 8 projects right now. Like,
Mm,
there's a lot of things that we're doing here that's going to be like just new stuff for us and like new way of doing things, new way of doing sales and outgoing and new ways of printing and things we're adding and all this other stuff. So I feel like we're good. I feel like
I,
me and you are both trying very hard for that.
yeah, and I would just say that I'm trying to slow it all down. And you just mentioned the Mild Boys chat. I know there's a lot of other group chats out there within the industry, but if you are not in one, start one because this is the
For
best
fucking
thing. This
sure.
is one of the best things we did. I don't know, it was a couple years ago. It all started off of Justin Lawrence. Shout out, hey, what's up, Justin?
Love you.
His under here, this
Wild
says
Boys.
wild. That's not an M, that's a W. And we are just the Mild Boys. So what was I saying? Oh, so if you're not in a group chat, like start one. A shop that's your friend or even not your friend, start a text group. You know, you're probably
The best
already
part about it,
messaging some people.
the best part about it is like we're already, you know, we were already good friends with all those people. But I feel like we're closer now, even though we don't see each other. I mean, we see each other at shows, we see each other whenever we all stop in at each other's place when we're in their town or whatever. But like, it's so nice to just be like, I'm going through this, or I had a customer say this, or I'm looking for this part, or this is going on with this piece of equipment, and it's like we've got 10 guys in there that know the answer, or will find it out for you, or did the research or whatever. It's just so fucking glorious to like have 10 people at like they have your back basically.
Yeah, and
So
I think the Discord has a little bit of that going on, but
Discord has a lot of
some
that too, but it's not like localized. Like, it's not your people.
it's not as personal because I think that there are shop owners and then there's all sort of people arts all sorts of people on Discord and it's such a public forum that it's not as like close knit. And so find a handful of of shops that you admire or and that you like and DM one of them, all of them, and say, start, you know, just start talking back and forth. And before you know it, you say, hey, here's my mobile,
Yeah.
text me. And I think it's really great thing. And so I
That's
just
the other thing
start,
too, though. I was gonna say, we haven't talked about Discord in a while, but because it's running awesome and there's a shitload of people in there, but like, go check it out. The link's on our Instagram to get the Discord and to get in there. There's a shitload of printers in there talking daily. There's all these other pages and everything's very, very well put together because Tony runs that thing. flawlessly. But yeah, go in there and see the people that are talking about the things that you want to talk about, and maybe those are the people that you can join a text group with. But you should definitely check it out.
All right. I have more questions, but I think that we should probably go to the Instagram questions because there's several. There's lots of
Okay.
good stuff there. So
Do you have any other questions you really want to ask me before we get into it? I'll try not to make it long-winded.
no, I think that we covered some of the answers or some of these questions with some of our other stuff just randomly because
Okay.
we went on
All right.
tangents. So I think we're good.
Okay.
And I think we can cover some of that stuff with the Instagram questions. And so I'll start them off. Okay, let me get there.
I haven't seen any of these, so they're all surprises to me.
Is this you? The Instagram is Laser Steak. Sounds like that might be one of your Instagrams.
It's not, but I love it.
They ask, what do you guys do for fun?
Well, my
You can
favorite
answer this
things
one.
to do. I love hanging out with my best friends. We play a lot of video games. I'd say a lot of video games, but it's the same 2 video games over and over again. We play Gears of War Horde, different options, or we play Call of Duty Zombies. We've been doing that for fucking ever. I love going to the movies or watching movies. I go to the movies once, maybe 2, sometimes 3 times a week. And I'm a typical dude who likes to fucking grill and cook and all the things. But I also really love hiking now. So if you live in an area that has amazing hiking, please let me know what those sick trails are. So when I travel, I can check them out. That's it.
You just mentioned movies. T-shirts are fun asks your top 5 movies, and we don't have to list that many, but if you
That's
just
so
name a couple. I know there's like 1,000, so just name a few that you like that you can even think of.
Mine aren't going to be super deep, and I'm not going to be that nerdy guy who's like, oh, there's this super under the radar movie that I love and blah blah blah. My favorite movies are movies that I watch yearly, and I get something out every time I watch it in life. I think about something. My number 1 is Apollo 13.
Solid.
Also weirdly on that list is Hunt for Red October.
One of my favorite movies ever, which I'm surprised you
what's really weird for me? I'll watch that. I've watched that shit once or twice a year for years. Is I love submarine movies for some reason. I have no idea why. I just love submarine movies.
I use the Crazy Ivan reference all the time here. Have I told you that? No. I have told you about
where they turn real quick to see if you're behind.
Exactly. So a Crazy Ivan is it used to be anyway, when you're a submarine commander, somebody could come up behind you in your baffles. They can sneak up on you because the radar doesn't pick it up because of the disturbance of water. And so randomly, it's not routine, randomly you kill your engines and, turned. And so you can listen for if somebody's behind you and you want to get torpedoed, right? I use that reference. It doesn't even make sense, but I call it the Crazy Ivan because when you're running a long job, let's say you're running 1,000 shirts or 5,000 shirts, pull a Crazy Ivan and stop, just stop the press and then really look at that shirt because maybe you're having a screen breakdown on the edge that you're just not picking up.
Something sneaking up behind you.
Yeah, just do a Crazy Ivan. So that, because when you're on long runs, you kind of just get into robot like this, Crazy Ivan, that shit. That's what
what's funny is me and Lindsay dressed up as Hunt for October for Halloween once.
What were the costumes?
I had my full hunting gear on, and she had a red outfit on with a calendar of October on her chest. I was hunting for Red October.
Hilarious. Did people get it?
Nobody got it. So fucking. How would you get that?
It's a stretch, but I like it.
I mean, I like Iron Giant is up there for me. I love that movie.
Well, you mentioned a couple. I guess I don't know what they are.
Suspense, I have a million Sasquatch movies that I have. Me and Chris have been buying up all of the ones that we find.
How about comedy wise, how about Dumb and Dumber?
Dumb and Dumber is good. My favorite comedy movie, I think, of all time is Tommy Boy.
Oh yeah, so good. I
I'm
saw
not a
Adam
big comedy
Sandler,
movie guy,
and
but
you're
I
also not a horror.
definitely not a whole.
Huh?
I mean, horror. I'm not a
Dylan,
horror fan at all. I will not watch basically any horror movie. Sorry to
what
all those people that are fanatics.
our friend Tyler from Utah, Black Rifle, asks,
Mhm.
"What's the best place in the country to visit, but wouldn't want to live there?"
Mm. Hmm. I kind of want to say Atlantic City.
No. Why is that the best place to visit?
No, you said, but wouldn't want to live there.
Well, yeah,
My favorite place I've ever visited, honestly, is Tyler in Utah.
but you want to live there. Like you could
I
live there.
want to live there, right?
Yeah, me
Exactly.
too. Me too.
I don't know. Like I say
Maybe
Atlantic City just because it has a soft spot in my heart because I've been going there for years with people from here to the ISS show, and it's just so fucking dirty and scummy and trashy and fun as fuck.
there you go. Good answer. Okay, so Hanson Screen Printing asks, do you believe in ghosts? And if you do, have you ever had a paranormal experience?
Hmm. Are these just all for me?
I'm reading them and I feel like your answers are really great. And so I can answer some. So
I we had a let me phrase it this way. I am a scaredy cat when it comes to that stuff because again, I can't watch horror movies because I get too scared and I have to watch cartoons afterwards. So I feel like my whole life I'm that guy where like I'm in a dark basement. I always have to like run upstairs. I don't like to have my toes or feet out the bottom of a blanket or off the bed because if it's off the bed, then fucking something's gonna grab it in the middle of the night.
Boogeyman. Yeah.
Boogeyman. But we had this discussion at the shop a little while ago, like a would you rather, and it was like, would you rather meet or discover a ghost, or would you rather meet or discover an alien? And I was like, alien, 100%,
Yeah. 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 Me too.
because it's like a realistic thing. Like, yeah, there's other things living out there. It came down. It would be like the movie Paul, where you're just like hanging out with an alien, smoking weed, fucking shooting shit, playing video games. Ghost is like a whole nother like worldly thing. That means there's like fucking demons and all this shit. And like,
Maybe not.
what's
Maybe
it
not.
doing? No, I'm just saying, like, if you died and you fucking popped up in my room as a fucking floaty blue fucking orb,
I would be a friendly ghost.
yeah, but that
Why
means
are they?
so there's so many other possibilities of like, why are you here? What are you doing? What happens when I die? Where's this thing? It's like this is just another like I found a fucking frog I've never seen before in the woods, not like poof your fucking energy in front of me.
I do believe in ghosts. I believe in energies, maybe is a way to put it. I don't know that you can like physically see this person floating or whatever, but I believe in energies. The experience I had once, this was probably 20 years ago. I was upstairs, we were falling asleep, and I would say, you're like on the verge of like falling asleep and everything's quiet. And there was this out of nowhere, loudest fucking noise I've ever heard. Like I thought somebody came through our sliding glass door. It sounded just like that. And in fact, I was so startled, I called the police. I couldn't believe it. Like somebody just broke into our fucking house and go down, there's nothing, like nothing was there. I was just like, I just off like the top of my head remembered this story. So I could have gotten some of the details wrong, but that shit happened. And, one other time I was in college and I had spent the night. No, I was with my girlfriend. We went out and then I was going home. I was driving home. She lived like a half an hour away and I had to go through like these country roads almost to get back to over where I lived. And I was driving along and for some reason I became like a more alert and slowed down. And 5 seconds later, there was this deer in the road. And I don't know why that happened other than, you know how my dad died when I was really young.
Mm-hmm.
There's been certain points in my life where certain moments that I
Like
feel
someone
like
saved you.
like there was an intervention, like a divine intervention, right? And I have no idea why I slowed down. It's unexplainable, but I just did. And I've had like a handful of things like that happen. And
Well, you
anyway,
also know,
I believe in energies. You were going to say something smart ass. What was it?
yeah,
Bring it.
yeah.
I can take it. I can take it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's like the Toy Story thing where it's like, if that's real, if the toys really did come to life, they've seen some shit. Like if your dad's following you around, make sure you don't get into horrible shit, and he sees the shit that you do when you think nobody's around.
Maybe so. But
That sucks. I don't want to go to that afterlife where everyone's hanging out because I'm like, dude.
I don't know. I hope that there's something after. And if there isn't,
fuck
that's
yeah. I mean, you all
that's
hope
okay.
that.
If there isn't, that's okay. But it would be pretty sweet if there was something after. Disney, Connor asks, water sports or snow sports? You're gonna say neither.
No. They're both really fun here because we have really good summers and we have really good winters. So, I mean, depends on who you talk to, but when I was a kid, I snowmobiled a lot, so that was super fun. And sleigh riding, and I don't snowboard or ski, but that seems really fun. Building snow forts fucking rules. But I also really like swimming.
I know both. That's my answer. Fuck, I can't choose.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do both of those. Here you go. Snow sports in the winter, water sports in the summer. Yeah, that's my answer.
The other thing too is this again is just like spending money because it's fun shit to do around the shop. We've been in talks of, because the lake's right there, of buying like an upstate blob and putting it on the lake.
Is that a thing that you pull around?
It's
on
like
a
that
boat?
huge it's that huge inflatable that you put like
island
above, like a big
thing?
diving board. Yeah, and then no, you ever seen what's that movie called? Fucking
Jaws.
Damn it. No. The one with Fat Camp. What's it called? It's gonna bug the shit out of me. It's an amazing movie. Anyway, they have a blob. It's like a huge pillow that goes on the water. It's like real tall and inflated. And someone jumps on this side because someone's already sitting on this side. It fucking launches them in the air. We were talking about getting an upstate blob and putting it at the lake so that we could just have like invite everyone from town to fucking launch each other.
I love it. Do it. DMV Print Co. asks the best way to get new clients. And I'm going to put a condition on this question. You have to answer this in 2 sentences, maybe 3.
Be yourself and do awesome work and follow up.
Be yourself, do awesome work, and follow up. I like it.
So if you're going to approach somebody, be yourself. Don't try to be some cheesy salesman. Don't try to be something you're not. Be yourself. Talk to somebody in your niche of shit that you know about. Obviously, you need to do really good quality work. Don't fucking shortcut anything. Don't try to get away with less flashes. Don't try to use shitty ink. Don't try to do anything you shouldn't do.
I said 3 sentences.
Follow up.
What the fuck? You're saying that's some more. Follow up.
I said it short and you were like, what the fuck are you saying?
No, I just repeated it. It was so good. Like you said it and I wanted to say it again. It was good. Okay. That's what I was doing. I wasn't like question. My voice didn't go up. Like,
you gave me that look of like
follow up. No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
Mine are 3. My 3 are do the right thing.
I hope it's the same thing as mine.
Do good work. It's going to be the same. You've got to do good work. 3.
Send them cookies when you fuck it up.
That's what my fucking answer was going to be. Make things right. If you mess up, that's your opportunity right there to do it right. Make it right. Send him cookies.
Mhm. So Andy's strategy is that he slightly fucks up every order so that he has the opportunity to make it right.
Smart, isn't it? It's my secret.
Yeah.
Is mayonnaise? I don't say that ever like that.
Why did you
I just
say
read
it like that?
That's how it's spelled. Mayonnaise is mayonnaise. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Why they fucking spell it like that? That's stupid.
Man glaze.
Is mayonnaise an instrument? Obviously,
That's what I
yes.
mean.
Obviously,
Yes.
yes. That was
The answer
from
is yes.
STL Printco. King Screen. Scott, hey, he chimed in here. Should conferences offer childcare options for parents in the industry with little supports? He's asking, is he asking if the conference, if a convention, if we go to a convention, should they offer childcare? Is that what he's asking?
We could just lock them in a room. Who gives a fuck? Throw
There's
some
your
food
answer, Scott.
in, leave them all in there.
There
Just
is
don't
your
bring
answer.
your Scott. Just be like everybody else and just fucking leave your kids at home.
Yeah, it will look. If anything, it teaches them about adversity. You want them to experience.
It teaches them to survive on their own, right?
Yeah.
Just leave a bowl of water on the floor.
Can of corn, Zach. What do you want to know? He says, "What do you enjoy most about the process?" Oh, 3 sentences.
What process?
The fuck you think? This screen printing.
What do I like the most about it? What are these?
It's not It's not a hard question. Yeah. What do you enjoy most about the process?
Do
Do you want me to give my answer first?
Yeah, I have the answer. I'm just trying to think about how to shorten it.
I'll make mine really short. The chase.
You
The experience, like we were saying earlier, just every day, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. And if it ever turns into monotonous or like every day is exactly the same, I'm out. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. I like that we get to bring other people's art to life and we don't have to be necessarily the creatives all the time.
You fucking pussy.
Okay. And I also love the industry and the people. I feel like we're all the same kind of people. It's like being in a band again.
Ooh, Joanne. Jojo Rudman.
Might be too spicy for this.
She asks, have you made friends with your shadow?
I made friends with my shadow.
Yeah. That's pretty deep.
Knowing Joanne, it's deep as fuck. Yeah, she's probably got some like thing.
I think I know what it means. I think I know.
Does she mean it in the sense of like, did I make peace with my past and it's helping me grow and move forward? I feel like that's a very Joanne thing to say.
I think it could mean that. Or maybe I interpret it like,
or just like a psychopath where you think your shadow is a real person that just follows you around everywhere.
It's a ghost.
Yeah.
I think it means the shadow is a metaphor for your like that the person that talks to you like in your head. You know what I mean? That tells you like, oh, you can do it, or you can't do it, or you suck, or you're awesome, or that sort of stuff. Like there's, like in Animal House, the movie, there's a devil on one shoulder and an angel, like that person talking to you, the shadow, maybe. And so what was have you made friends with your shadow? That person that talks to you.
Yes.
I think it's that.
I'm trying.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're not enemies. Like, because your person, that shadow can like be a bully. Honestly, it can keep you from doing shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't have that. I feel like I have a pretty good moral compass, and I'm trying to do my best and I try to help people as much as possible. And I feel like that's just me. That's just part of me.
I would agree.
I don't have anything telling me to shut the fuck up.
I don't know who this is. Nigel maybe says thoughts on balancing being a parent, a leader, and being yourself?
My gut reaction to that was that you need to just be yourself with both. I feel like you need to show your kids who you really are, and your goofiness and your strongness and your vulnerable shit, because they need to know that it's real. I don't know, it's weird, but like I feel like when I was a kid, I only saw certain parts of my parents. I never saw like behind the scenes, I guess is a weird way to put it.
Mm.
And there's a lot I'm learning as an adult of like, my dad did this, or he has these stories, or he has this thing, or whatever. Like I never heard. It was always like your mom or dad or your whatever is just like there to make sure you don't die and you're fed, and they pay for shit and they send you to this place or this thing or whatever. It's not like we sat down and talked about life. I feel like you just need to be like, with my kids, I'm like, any opportunity I can to be a dad where I'm trying to teach them something or tell them how it really is or whatever, or talk to bullies at school or whatever. Like I try to talk to them about it. Like, I mean, I don't go super crazy, but like, I don't know. And I feel like it's the same thing with work. It's like you sit somebody down who's doing something stupid or not, they're not supposed to be doing, and you're like, dude, like I'm just trying to fucking run this place and I'm trying to do this, and why are you doing this? Like this doesn't make sense.
You're making it harder.
You're making it harder. You're being a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
it's just being real with people, like try to be yourself at all times.
I think that interestingly, all three of those things teach you about each thing. So like being a parent taught me how to be a better leader, being myself, and also taught me how to be a better yourself. You know what I mean? And things at this shop teach me how to be a better parent, and vice versa. Like they all, I think, play or interact with one another and overlap quite nicely. How do I balance all that stuff? I have, family comes first, but there are times I have missed things and not done things for sure. But I think that I don't like to look at that as a sacrifice. I like to look at it. I heard this once. It's not a sacrifice. It's like an investment, and I think that there's some times where you have to be,
That's what deadbeat dads say to themselves.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, go, it's important to go to the, whatever it is, the baseball game or whatever for your kid and take them to Legoland, like you said. But some weekends they say, hey, I want to go to Legoland. And you say no. And not only is that good for them to have to come up like and be creative and do something that's boring, that they think is boring anyway. That's good for them, but it's also important for you because you're doing something for your family, and in the future it'll be good.
I think the part of that the kids need to see is like, the last couple of years, I feel like I've taken a lot of fucking trips. And I think the part of that is that the kids need to see that dad is trying to grow his business. He's trying to go see the world. He's trying to have fun. He's trying to do what he feels is right for him and for them. And you need to be your own person. You shouldn't just be fucking shackled down to one thing. You know what I mean? They need to realize that they can do all these things. Like if they see me going to this place and doing this thing and this other thing, that they know it's possible to do things too. I don't know, it's a weird way to put it, but
I get it. And if they find fault, like I always thought like, oh, when my kid grows up, is he going to complain about how I was as a parent? Like, was I an asshole, or did I spend enough time with him, and all these kind of things? But I think that we all go through that, right? We all, whether in the moment when we're 15, we're like, man, mom and dad, or dad's an asshole, or mom's a bitch or whatever. And then at 20, you maybe think that, and at 25, but eventually you can't blame your parents for shit in your life. Especially, hold on, let me finish this out. Especially once you become a parent, you realize like, holy shit, like I was such an asshole as a kid, or why did I think this way about my mom or whatever. And I have to take accountability. You know what I mean? Like I have to be like, if my parents, we all have tough moments when we're growing up. We all have something, right? And you can't point your finger at your parents. At some point, I think you have to forgive them. I don't know why you were it made me think of this. You were talking about your kids and taking them to the thing. And I think just balancing family life and all this kind of stuff, you can try your hardest and your kids are going to still tell you to fuck off one day. But eventually, hopefully they understand you and they're like, oh, you know, they're in charge of their own life. That's my point.
We don't have to get super deep into the kid stuff, but I think for me, quick and dirty is it's just like, I'm not thinking about them as a kid for the most part. I'm thinking about what I'm saying to them and what they're doing and their experiences as to how they're going to live as an adult or when they're, 20 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kid phase is cool and like we'll do fun stuff and let them giggle and fart around and fucking do whatever. But like most of the stuff I'm trying to set them up for is like, okay, like you're going to have to fucking do this on your own someday.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So like if I'm yelling at them for doing something, like I'll fucking make it known that I'm pissed and they shouldn't do this and whatever. Like I want them to know that what they were doing is not something they should be doing. I'm not that person who sits in the corner and is like, we'll talk about it later. I'll be like, hey, fuckhead, stop doing that right now. And I'll explain to them why they shouldn't be doing that. And it's like, I did that growing up. Like, I love my dad to no end. Like, my dad fucking does a shitload of stuff for me here and helps me and all this other stuff. But my dad is a buddy dad. My dad never yelled, like, ever. Like, I literally can't remember a time my dad yelled. My dad yelled at me one time that I can remember, and it's because I whipped my brother in the back with a rope. And he just like turned around and yelled at me and was like, do you want me to do that to you? It's like the only time in my life I can remember my dad yelling. Like, it's great that my dad's a buddy dad. And it's great that like now he's my buddy and we do shit together and he builds stuff and all this other stuff. But it didn't like teach me anything. Like he taught me a fuckload of stuff, but like it didn't teach me anything about just being like sometimes life sucks or like pick up your shit when you're done with it. It like when I look back at it, a lot of it was like, growing up, I did not like my stepdad because he constantly was yelling at us about stuff or, he always made us pick our shit up and like all this other stuff. But it's now that I'm an adult, it's that shit that I remember where it's like, put shit back when you're done with it. Or that's why I'm like neat and organized. That's why the shop looks the way it looks is because I learned that I need to fucking pick my shit up. Or I learned that I need to do this correctly or whatever. It's because of the hard times and the good times. So like when I'm as a parent now, I look at it as like, I need to be stern a lot of the time, but I also need to be fun and then open and exciting a lot of the time. And I hope
like
they
that.
remember both.
I like that. Yeah, you have to be good cop and bad cop, I guess.
Yeah.
I was at the store trying to find a cucumber, and there was this there was this parent and his kid was pushing the cart, and the cart was like, taller than him. And he runs in, like smacks the fuck into this display of stuff, and like 20 cans go like crashing down and roll on the ground. He goes, and then I was like, I told you, like this kind of action to the kid. Yeah. And the kid was just like, ooh. And like, if my kid did that, which he has, I would be like, dude, like, watch where you're going. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, let's pick this up and then just watch where you're going. I wouldn't be like, I told you. I just felt like when that dad was saying that, I would have been like, fuck you. Like I would have hated that dad. Like, it was just like, I don't want to hear your shit, man. Like I told you or whatever, because the kid was just being a kid, like he was pushing a cart. It was fun. He crashed into the thing. I laughed. I would have laughed at my kid doing that. Like, you dumbass, like, dude, watch where you're going.
Yeah. That's a teaching
like,
moment.
You got to get upset.
Like, see what happens when you do this. This is what happens. Like, let's pick this up together. Now like not to do this. It's like the reason why you let your kid fucking piss on an electric fence because they're never gonna fucking do it again.
And then after they pick all the cans up, then you take them out to the car and you beat them.
Yeah, and you beat them fucking senseless in their hairlines so they can't see the bruises.
I think you thought about that too much. All right, let's do let's go to quick takes. We each have 3 or something like that, right? You were supposed to write 3. That was your homework. Did you do it?
Yeah, I did.
I told you. Oh, okay, good. I was just getting.
You want me to go first? You want me to do 3 and then you do 3, or are we gonna go every other?
Let's do every other. Yeah, you wanna. So I need to end. So I'm gonna usually go 4. First. Dylan, Andy. I don't know. Wait, it doesn't matter.
I'll go.
You want me to?
I'll go.
You go. Okay, you go.
Okay. If you got if reincarnation is real, you reincarnated into an animal, what animal would it be?
Well, the first thing that came to mind, I don't know if I want to be.
It's the first thing that came to mind. That's what it should be. That's the real answer.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to be some sort of, big cat, like a lion or a tiger or whatever. I love them. Yeah, probably like that. Like Lion King.
Like Lion King?
Yeah, because isn't it cool? You sort of just chill most of the day, and then every once in a while you go like hunt some shit, fuck it up.
What was that statistic from? Wasn't it from Tiger King, where it said like most tigers in the world like are in captivity, like owned and in a zoo or at people's houses than there are in the wild?
Really? Is that
You
true?
would be
I don't
a
know.
fucking Tiger King if you're gonna be a tiger. You said lion, but like if you were a tiger, you'd be at his place.
You're thinking of the Netflix or whatever it was on.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't want to be in captivity. I'd be the tiger that escaped. Like I would maul the Tiger King or whatever, one of those other dudes, and I'd take off. I would go hide out like Rambo in the forest.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Ready? It's my turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your kryptonite?
My kryptonite? My daughter.
We're just talking about kids.
Seriously though. All she has to do is fucking bat her eyes at me and give me like a sad face and I fucking fold.
That's fair.
I can talk a big game about being a great dad and everything. We've gone to Disney fucking 4 years in a row and I didn't want to go one time. It's all because of her, 100%.
Good answer.
Yeah, definitely my daughter, 1,000,000%.
All right. Next.
So if you ever want anything from me, just ask her to ask me.
Or just bat my eyes at you, maybe a little bit. Give you that face.
You could probably do that, yeah.
Okay.
All right. What song would you like played at your funeral as people exit?
Oh my God. Oof. Bon Jovi, Dead or Alive.
Like, wanted.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty, like, that's badass, And it says Dead or Alive. Like, what's this
Which
guy?
is funny because, all right, I'm not going to get mine.
No, give yours. Let's hear it. Is it also a Bon Jovi song?
It's not Bon Jovi, but jokingly, which was a joke for a long time, and Bill is great at like editing things, making it, he's also a great like singer. He was a singer in my band. And we always jokingly, when we want to get hyped up, is play fucking Kid Rock's American Badass.
Hell yes.
So I know it's funny. People are like, Kid Rock, all this other stuff. But if you ever just fucking like blared American Badass, it's fucking the best hype song there is.
There was like, I want to say it was like Woodstock maybe or something, where he opened, or his opening song was that, and he came out with like this cape or whatever on, and how he does, like with like looks
I
like
don't love Kid Rock by any means, but just that song in general is just like, for me and my friends, it's just so fucking funny.
It's like, funny. I like it.
Blare at the top of our lungs.
Oh, well, yes. Name, I don't know why I said 3 people. If you can do it fast, but it only has to be one. Name 3 people that you have never met that you would like to have dinner with. And it could be like at a dinner party, so they don't have to be, it's not awkward. It's just you on a dinner date.
So they have to still be alive?
No.
Dead or alive?
Wanted.
Robin Williams. Who am I like thinking of right now that I really like? Brad Leone from Bon Appetit. Carl Sagan.
So
that's it. It's my 3.
Who was the guy from Bon Appetit? I don't know who he is.
Brad Leone. He's like fucking my age, probably a little older. He's a chef.
Hmm.
And
That's a good person to go to dinner with. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart. All right. Do you have a third final question?
Fuck, marry, kill. Trent Reznor, Matthew McConaughey, or your mom.
All right. Next question is
That's my last one. That's all I got.
you can't have
All
my
right.
mom in there.
I know I left that in there as like I would like you to answer it, but if not, I also know you like Gary V. So you got Trent Reznor, Matthew McConaughey, or Gary V. Fuck, marry, kill. I know you're gonna fuck Trent Reznor. My guesses would be you're gonna fuck Trent Reznor, marry Matthew McConaughey, and kill Gary V.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good. It's a toss-up who I want to fuck or marry between Matthew and Trent, though.
Yeah, but if you marry Matthew, hopefully you're gonna get some right on the regular.
Yeah, but if you marry Trent, you could
fucking Trent Reznor one time is just gonna like be great. That's gonna be your great one night stand.
Either that or really awful. I don't know.
That's true too.
I don't know. That's a really fucking hard question. What is for dinner?
Oh God, that's all you're asking me? This is perfect actually, because you and Joanne are the ones who made me really into it. I'm having beef tenderloin and mashed potatoes for dinner.
Heck yeah.
Hell
you made or you got somewhere?
I'm gonna make it myself. I'm gonna sous vide the meat and then I got mashed potatoes. And I think I got
some like powder, like some powder, and then you put the water in for the mashed potatoes, or like potatoes?
I make mashed potatoes. Yeah, like boil potatoes, mash them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
I'm gonna do that when I leave here.
Okay.
What are you eating?
Cucumbers, I think. Fucking cucumbers.
Make sure you wash it first. That's all I gotta say.
Well, it's been like really fun. This was interesting. I don't know. I think it's really different than.
This is like a you and me phone call.
Just it is a lot longer. Like a phone call. This is just a little bit longer phone call.
Yeah. So sorry if we got too personal and too deep, but I hope you guys get something from it.
I think that we both wanted, as much as we love all of the industry stuff that we talk about every week, we wanted to break for just a week and talk about entrepreneur stuff. You know what I mean? Like
real
life stuff. Yeah. Like let's not nerd out about printing or anything like this. Let's just talk about our lives just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's important to do sometimes. That's all.
And if you could, like, share, comment on YouTube, comment on Instagram.
Oh my God, dude. There's been some new, there was a new review or two on Apple Podcasts. I just saw one yesterday or the day before. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Here we go. Ready?
I haven't seen it.
J Yogi 3 says, in all seriousness, this is the best podcast on the internet. We paid him to say that. Mm-hmm. I enjoy looking forward to listening to the show every week and love what you guys are doing for the industry. Trade shows used to be weird, but I feel more connected to all sorts of shops across the country. Keep it up.
Thanks, John.
And we got another one on Monday. I didn't see this one. It says by Pagerland, says, I am a screen printer based out of Houston, Texas, and listen to the Shirt Show weekly to stay updated with everything going on in the screen printing world. Keep doing what y'all do.
Thank you. If you haven't done one, please do one. Just tell us how it is. Mm-hmm. But
yeah.
Another thing we were thinking about doing that I hope we get to do next week is do a live Instagram live, where we want to just shoot the shit with you guys. And maybe catch up with somebody who's been on the show and we want to see where they're at now.
I've never done Instagram Live. I don't know how to do it.
Me neither. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll push a button somehow and it'll work.
Love you.
Love you, dude.